Here's a picture of Jacques Chirac and Tony Blair. So what does CFB stand for?
Collaborating French bastards.
This refers to Gordon Brown's increasingly public role at the heart of the government, prompting speculation that Tony Blair is preparing the way for a smooth handover of power.
Am I the only one who detects a kind of will-they-won't they sexual tension between these two? Come on, Tony, this isn't about the economy. There's only been one thing. Gary Glitter's submarine.
And what was the bad news for the Greenland ice shelf this week?
It's melting and Santa's drowning. To be honest, I'm glad. He deserves it. A jumper? After all I've done this year, a fucking jumper? Die, Santa, die! We've probably lost the kids' audience here.
Santa's dead.
It's the title of my Fringe show. Just his decapitated head. Ho, ho, fucking ho.
Which other royal has been messing with nature this week?
Princess Anne, she wanked off one of her horses.
Why was Prince Charles causing an environmental storm this week?
Did he wank off one of his horses?
Technically, it's not bestiality because he is married to it.
Yeah.
The real story is the price of amyl nitrate is going through the roof. And the gay community is up in arms. They're up in arms to about this far.
Why have we had a clash between church and state in this country in the last week?
It's the poofs. The poofs causing trouble again.
Unlikely things for a cricket commentator to say.
Is it a 4 or is it a 6? No, that man's arse is definitely a 10. This has been an extraordinary match, but then I'm on mescaline. To recap on the rules, it's rounders with extra gay stuff. England did ask a few tough questions of Australia, like, how do you play cricket? Why are we so fucking shit? The Indians may have pipped us here, but let's not forget, we slaughtered them in their millions. Donuts? With Viagra? What the hell are you doing,
Because I'm nearly dead, Frankie! Can I not have some fun?
Find a woman, leave the pastries alone!
But what does the DBPB stand for?
Desperate bulimic's pointless boyfriend?
Yeah.
Is it diamond bracelet placates bitch? Is it definite benders pretend bride? Okay. Can I do my hard ones just before we do the answer?
Why did you pick your favourite hard one, all right? Have you got it?
Dildo bursts Posh's bladder. I mean, people who are stupid enough to phone them in, I'm surprised that they've got the intelligence to be able to turn the TV on. You know that half of those people must be dialing with their face. It's great life being a racehorse, though, because if you're a champion racehorse, that means you get to spend the last 10 years of your life lazing about in a field shagging women.
No.
Or not women, other horses. It's like being a horse suicide bomber.
No, hang on. That's only if...
I bet you this picture has been received very differently in Korea.
I'm glad you've done that. I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
Are you imagining that we're a much gayer culture? Well, Glasgow is actually the #1 tourist destination in Britain for gay men because they just don't care where those fists hit them, Clive. My granddad used Werther's Original as a euphemism for his penis.
What not to say to a policeman?
I wanted to be a policeman, but then I passed my O-levels. My sister would like you. She loves a man in uniform, and she's a racist. The thing for the cheeky girls is if you spend years saying, touch my bum, finally someone touches your bum and it's Limb OPEC, you're going to be slightly disappointed there.
Excerpts from DVDs I wouldn't sell.
I'm afraid the only thing you're going to be fighting for some time, Bond, is HIV. Thank you for purchasing Learning the Guitar with Stephen Hawking. All Jedi do gay stuff, Luke. Relax and feel the Force. Here's looking at you, kid, is why I'm in a Cambodian jail. Ah, Frodo, you're hurting me! When I said you should destroy the ring.
The answer is 10%.
What percentage of my income do I spend on buying my stalkers abortions?
What does BBGF stand for?
Is it Blair Bum's Gay Fish? That's his whole problem, is he's holidaying with people like Cliff Richard. Why doesn't he go and stay with Tom Jones, get laid and cheer up a bit? He's only hanging out with Robin Gibb because he's the only person in the world who's got a worse legacy than him. You've got to be careful. You've got to be careful, David, because the big BG is terrifying. He's like 7 foot tall, sings black music in the voice of a castrated white boy, and as each of the other BGs dies, he becomes more powerful.
It is the hanging of Saddam.
They couldn't have made it more undignified. They couldn't have made it more undignified if they'd hung him from a swing ball. You're Saddam? Oh, yes! It was horrendous. It was disgusting. I only gave it 2 stars. Yeah. It was actually John Prescott was the person who came out and was the person to condemn it. But that's pretty bad if the only sort of moral conscience in your nation is a man who has done things to his body that has turned his internal organs into patty. A man who couldn't wear a tie and a belt on the same day or he'd turn into sausages.
It's science.
Scientists have just built the world's biggest ever super collider, and they're doing an experiment to find out what makes up protons. I hope that if the experiment's successful, the whole of our reality will dissolve and a big sign will come up that says, Level 2. I always wondered, you know that woman that had the face transplant? See if she gave you a blowjob, would that technically count as a threesome? You know, science isn't all progress. You know, so you look at 4x4s and they're bad for the environment. They're too big, aren't they? I mean, often now when I'm out dogging, I have to stand on someone's shoulders just to be able to press my balls on the windshield.
The answer is between 10 and 15,000.
Is it according to school dinner, ladies, how many minutes should you give pasta? Is it age 12, I saw a shop assistant's breast in Woolworths. What age would I have to live to before I can get that image out of my mind? Oh, fucking shut up about carousels. The only reason we're talking about this is because Hugh looked at some boring fucking website instead of 6 hours of cock-hungry teens like a normal man. On the train down this week, this is true, there's a Scottish guy trying to chat up a girl on my table, and they're sort of flirting, and she's a medical student, and she's got this book of, like, case histories and stuff, and she goes, oh, could you help me so I can try and diagnose you? And he goes, OK. And he goes and looks at a case history, and you choose something light, wouldn't you, if you're flirting?
You open light, yeah.
He closes the book and goes, I would appear to have infected diarrhoea. And that phone number disappeared over a series of descriptions of his bloody turds.
Things you wouldn't hear on a driving test.
When I slap the dashboard with my forehead, I'd like you to crawl out of the wreckage and fetch help. You made one mistake, sir. A Pine air freshener doesn't cover up the smell of a dead hitchhiker. On my signal, I'd like you to mount the pavement and kill my ex-wife.
What the Queen didn't say in her Christmas message.
Edward stuffed the turkey this year. He seemed to be awfully good at it. It's been good to spend some time with my family. And Harry. I've had a few medical problems this year. I'm now so old that my pussy is haunted.
What does RIPS stand for?
Is it Reid imagining Prescott's sex life? Reid's impressive purple scrotum? Reid is paedophile Santa Claus? Reid Ipswich prostitute slayer?
Has John Reid dealt with the problem of overcrowded prisons?
He's released the paedophiles. Could we dress the paedophiles up as Morris dancers so that they have bells on, the kids will know when they're nearby? And, beautifully, real Morris dancers will get beaten up for being paedophiles.
There are 80,000 people in prison, aren't there?
Yes, and there are 80,716 cells.
But there's an obvious solution, like, just top and tail.
What you've not factored in is the levels of prison-forced homosexuality, Russell. It's like sex Tetris trying to fit into a cell these days. There's a double-edged sword here, isn't there, where you'd sort of work out if you were going into prison to try and defend yourself, but working out is only going to make your ass look better. I mean, there's nothing really in the gym that's going to give you an arsehole like a cigar cutter. Or what's wrong with sending them to Australia? I mean, we still own it, and I'd like to see someone keep up an antisocial attitude when surrounded by 3 million happy-go-lucky fuckwits.
Another idea with the whole thing of, you know, the prison overcrowding might be if they put up, like, mirrors in all the cells to create an illusion of space. Well,
And also, there's nothing worse than having some guy shagging you, look at himself in the mirror and wink.
What new initiatives are the Home Office coming up with then?
They've got an initiative, haven't they, to do a database of people's shoe prints.
People's shoe prints, yeah.
Which isn't as daft as it sounds, because from a shoe print, they can tell what size you are, they can tell what height you are, what weight you are, and various other stuff about you. Which is why, when I'm doing a crime, I always wear high heels and carry a bowling ball.
Subject is the environment.
Ryanair are getting a hard time from the government because they're not doing enough to combat global warming. And you think, well, air travel isn't good for the environment. And surely no one has done more to put people off flying than Ryanair. Nothing punctures that James Bond image quite like being sold peanuts by a stewardess who looks like she survived Hiroshima. There's no way that Ryanair are as big a polluter as China, although Ryanair do have a worse record on human rights.
265 million.
How many complaints will there be about the paedophile section of this show? What is the current chart position of Peter Andre's Drum and Bass Christmas? Is it when the machines finally take over, how many humans will die in the first 24 hours in what the machines will later refer to as the Great Adjustment? How much money would the BBC have to pay Tom Cruise if I made the joke I'd like to make about him and John Travolta? Blackpool deserves as big a kicking as possible. It's the one town in Britain where I've got chlamydia from fish and chips.
The creasing with Dilo Dundee is the fact that they all pretend to be friends. Yeah. That really gets on my nerves.
To be honest, that's what I hate about this show. You know, super casinos are terrible because, I mean, people are too vulnerable to cope with this. I mean, people in Britain are addicted to eBay. How are you going to cope with £1 million prize money if you're up till 3 in the morning trying to buy second-hand pyjamas? Your man boobs done is a very sort of decadent kind of stage to get to, though, isn't it? That's why when I had mine done, I donated them to an African transsexual. I have to be careful here. Hugh has to be careful because this week I discovered, I don't know if you know what slash fiction is, but it's basically gay fiction on the internet where they have people like, you know, Captain Kirk and Spock shagging each other. And there's one of me and Hugh. I don't know why you're doing that, Hugh, because you're the receiver.
I'm just trying to make it easier for you.
And the most offensive part of it is when they describe my pubes as being ginger. This is just... I mean, parents of obese children are just misguided because they're trying to make their children less attractive to paedophiles. But what they're forgetting is that they're making it harder for them to run away.
What a TV chef would never say.
I'm Nigella Lawson, and what I love about presenting this programme is the knowledge that at home, Frankie Boyle has just about ripped his cock off. Tonight on Russian Cookery, cyanide, polonium, and a crab stuffed with explosives. While you're stuffing the lamb, put your hand over his muzzle so he can't cry for his mother. This dish requires a little extra salt, so I'm going to fuck it. And there we have it. A donut like a Boy Scout's arsehole.
Bad thing to say at the opening of the new Wembley Stadium.
Due to a double booking, England's first match is against Simply Red. Well, isn't this magnificent? Some seats pointing at some fucking grass. And already there's a dog on the